Morning, everyone. Give everybody a couple minutes to get on here. Supposed to have Dave Taylor this morning from Wise Path. He's running behind. He's trying to get a client into treatment right now, but he'll be on here soon. Uh, maybe if you want, I see Kiara's already did it. Maybe put your contact in the chat, and we'll wait on him to come and join us. Anybody got anything to say about their services before Dave gets here?
We send a lot of people to Wise Path and always have pretty good success. And then regarding our services, we have our 24/7 crisis units in the Northern Panhandle, in Brooke and Ohio County. And we can admit for substance use disorder and mental health crises.
Thanks, Jen. Dave just texted me. He'll be with us in a second. He's been trying to get a client into recovery. You there, Dave?
I am here. Let me
All right.
see.
Good morning, everybody. This is the Raleigh County, Fayette County Reentry Council. Dominique won't be with us this morning. She texted me earlier today and told me she was stuck in the doctor's office. But Dave Taylor from Wise Path is our speaker this morning. So I'll turn it over to you, Dave.
Hey, everyone. Sorry I'm late. I was explaining to Jonathan I had a guy that I've been working with all weekend to get into treatment and couldn't ever get him to commit. And this morning he decided to commit. And if you guys know, when you're dealing with somebody who has finally been loyal to you and only you, like I didn't want to pass this guy off to anybody. I wanted to make sure he got there. Um, so I'm a few minutes late, but it's one of the few excuses that I think I'll stand behind is if I'm getting somebody into treatment. I'm trying to look and see who all we have in here. Let me see. I see Aetna Better Health. I see, let me see, Northwood. Some guy named Jonathan talk every time I get a chance. I volunteer him all the time. Um, let's see. This is who is here from Fayette County? Who's here from Fayette County? Just me?
I guess just you.
um, well, I know that Amber Blankenship had called me about, putting some names out there to find somebody who might be interested in sharing for Fayette and Nicholas. And I sent a few emails out to some guys. I was hoping they would be on this meeting. They might have got on and thought I wasn't there, or I might have sent them the wrong link. Anyway, let's see. I am Dave Taylor. I'm trying to see. Does anybody here not know me or not know what WisePath does? Good. Everybody does know. I will tell you guys, if you haven't heard, WisePath has our new facility that when I started, they said it would be open in May, which that made me think probably September. I know that the plan now is to start posting those jobs June 1st, and that is for a facility on Goshen Road, right outside of Fairmont. That is brand new construction. It is about almost a $6 million facility. I'll tell you uniquely what was cool about it to me, and kind of what sold me on it, for lack of a better word, is we were all under the company, the Ascension umbrella. And so that means you take on investors, and they have projects all over the country. And the founder of Ascension, Doug, who was from Morgantown, West Virginia, um, he was like the guy who started West Virginia Sober Living and all that stuff. He This has been his dream to open this facility, because we have the facility in Westover, we had a facility in Williamson, but he wanted something that he could call like West Virginia's own, and like really help, like put an investment into it. And so the investors kept dragging their feet. They were like, oh, it's not the right time. You know how people with money are, like, it's not the right time. There's too much going on in the country, and there's too many of this and that, too many unknowns. And what was very cool and like admirable to me is that Doug himself personally leveraged a lot of his own properties and bought out his investors just for WisePass. So we're standalone just so he could open that facility for the people in West Virginia, which I thought, like this man literally put his money where his mouth was. And I can't wait to start giving tours to everybody because it's unlike I had a really high bar. And when I went there, I just kept going, "Are you kidding me?" Over and over, "Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?" And even things, like the fountains inside. And I think Jonathan has seen the group room that's made out of glass with the stream running below it. Um, it's something West Virginia's never seen. And like this might just mean me being a hillbilly, but like when I went over to the housing unit, I'm like, hey, we've got elevators. Like that's when you know you've arrived, right, in a treatment facility when you've got a new elevator that it works and you're not scared to get on it. So we're super excited about that. 50 beds residential, 15 to 20 is going to be detox. So I'm excited for it. I think it's that way we'll have the three facilities in the state plus we'll have the outpatient at Cheat Lake, which I would try to say, hey, if you have anybody sent for outpatient, holler at me because they do telehealth. But I think their wait list is something crazy. Like it's that's how much the telehealth is like needed and like sought after. Um, Other than that, Jonathan, I'm a very transparent individual, and I will put this out there right now. I got a call, was it a week before last, from Blake here at Fayette County QRT, and I had him on the phone because I was trying to talk down a lady who was wanting AMA, and it worked. It worked, but he said, Dave, I just heard that someone successfully smuggled fentanyl into your facility. And I went straight to like a situation room. I went nuclear, scorched earth. And it didn't get past nursing. But I wanted to, like, because I know that, that is how rumors start. But I will tell you, we addressed it with the fact that I went down there. The president, Rachel Blasco, went down there. Russell went down there. Tori went down there. We sent God and country down there just to make sure that everything is going. I'm going back this week just to make sure that everything is going right because I take that stuff very seriously. And we also took some names off of the list of people that we were referring to for sober living that just we had got reports that some of these sober livings. I mean, my gosh, we got one report that one of the places was running an extension cord 2 houses down to get power for their sober living. Yeah, and that information was passed along to the attorney general's office, and like I felt bad, even and they're not WIVAR certified, which was another thing that I kind of flipped out on case management about. So um, I say that to say this: anytime you're dealing with us, anytime you're dealing with me, if somebody comes back to you, and even if you think it might be just a facetious BS rumor, if you are dealing with us and you have a referral come back and say that something didn't seem right, something wasn't right, call me. And worst case scenario, we go down there and we don't find anything. But we would much rather be proactive than to have some of that toxicity in our facilities and just let it keep festering because I assure you that the level of pissed off that I was when I got that information was very high.
John Williamson?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, we scorched the earth and hired professional cleaners to come in, not only to clean, not really to clean necessarily, but to make sure that every piece, every inch of that facility was looked at. And me, the old prison guard, I was going, right to left. I mean, I was like looking, because it's scary. And that happened to me at my other job, my other place of employment with a guy who was on federal parole. And I stuck my neck out for the guy on federal parole. And long story short, he had his family smuggle in his clothes in the waistband was full of meth. And it's one thing to smuggle in; it's another thing to try to get other people to use it who were trying to get healthy. And normally I would, I err on the side of let's get this guy help. That opportunity right there, I took to send the U.S. Marshals down there to send a message that you're not going to poison you could poison yourself. I hope you don't, but if you choose to do that, that's fine. But when you bring it into a facility when people are trying to get better, that's where that whole line of me being a calm and compassionate turns into you trying to hurt my people, and I'm not going to have it, right? So it happens, unfortunately. That's what I tried to explain to some of the nursing staff because they were really upset. They felt like they'd let everybody down. I'm like, hey, this like every time we build a mouse trap, the mouse is getting smarter. You got to think some people are bad actors. They don't want, every facility gets people in who don't want to get healthy. When I first went to treatment, I wasn't sure I wanted to get healthy, but so that I say all that to say this because it's been on my mind that if you ever hear of anything negative, I don't care. You're not gonna hurt my feelings. You're probably just gonna cost me a tank of gas to drive to the facility because I want to make sure that we're doing it right. And that's what I told him. I said it's not just the facility's reputation. It's my reputation because I'm the guy, like just now, that guy I had on the phone when I'm talking to his wife, when I'm talking to his son who's 16, so he understands it. When they put their trust in me, I have to, say, hey, I'm going to get this guy the best that I can. I'm going to do everything I can for him. So my reputation, if he calls home and says, hey, they just brought some fentanyl in here or whatever, that's on me. That's why I take it so personally. Um, Other than that, Fayette County, this is I don't know now, like what, Fayette County is unique to me because not only is it home, it's where I started my career in law enforcement diversion. And I know when I was here, we had an outstanding program because I had the advantage of knowing most of these guys my entire life. I worked with them, and a lot of guys who thought that junkies and backpackers and all that, they changed their terminology because it was funny because when I first started going around, they would say, look at that junk, and they would stop because they see me standing there and they were like, sorry, Dave. I'm like, no, I get it. But they had a really good program in place. They still do with like Judge Ewing with the family treatment court, drug court. They even have like the teen court, which is pretty cool. But as far as community, Jonathan, do you know if they're doing anything? Do we need to find that like coordinator to have in place or what, man?
In what regards there, Dave?
As far as just getting some things moving. Remember the last meeting we were talking, and that's still been very fruitful when we talked. I still work with that lady at the jail who was on that meeting. Because we kind of steered the meeting toward how we, instead of like just what can WisePath do, it was like what can we all do to help with the reentry because we all know it's a huge problem. Like I know that like personally, I work with the Southern Regional Jail. I work with Andrew Hudson a lot to get people in these southern counties out of jail and into treatment a lot. But some of the other jails down that people go to from some other of the counties, it's not nearly as easy. I can text Andrew and be like, hey, get me Jonathan Spence on the phone right now so I can get him to do a intake and we'll get him out of there. Most of the time the jail will even transport him. But I don't know like who the go-tos are outside of that in the area.
I know from stuff like prior to when I started working with the Reach Initiative, Krisha had a list, and I'm trying to go through everything that was there, and I'm trying to do other stuff and answer the Getting Out app and all that, everything. And and I think
What
she
was
had a list, like an ecosystem that had like all the different reentry councils. And I'll send the list to you for Fayette and Raleigh County, that's on there. As far as it has like their emails and who they are and what services they work for and everything. Uh, so
Well, because I was just thinking, because like in Raleigh County, I know I used to work with Erica Moore a lot. She does the lead over at FMRS, and I saw that they also launched like a mobile crisis. I saw they did a photo op with the sheriff, and like those are all people that hopefully we could get involved in this. You know what I mean?
yeah,
People that are in Raleigh County, what they have a cool thing where they do a jail bill meeting where they come in and they look and they go, okay, what's this guy's charge? Okay, so we could probably send him to treatment if he wants to go, because instead of paying a jail bill, we'll try to get him help. And they do that on a weekly basis. And like Erica would be really cool to help us that, because I know she'd been there. Man, she was there back when I was there, and she's still going strong. So 5 years. So she's
I
probably got a ton of knowledge in the reentry.
right.
Um,
I
yeah, and like
know
resources stuff.
I know like I feel that unless you work in reentry or deal with people uh, in that nature, I think for the most part the public at large tries to ignore that area of the world,
Mhm.
not realizing that uh, probably 65% of all people that go to jail at one point in time will come out.
Yeah,
And
and yeah,
so if we don't have the services available to help them, then they're just going to go back in, and they're just going to it's just going to be a recycling. And the jail days, uh, for research on something else, I didn't realize how bad that was a system, where you get charged so much for the first 80%, so much for the next 20%, and then so much after your 100% are going up. And like right now, we're dealing with a transitional housing crisis. From my
big time.
understanding, I talked to Kenny Matthews uh, like a week or so ago, and there's like over 200 inmates who are actually can be released from prison, but because there's nowhere to send them to, there's no housing, no transitional housing, they're having to stay in jail. And I think on a yearly basis, that's like $6 million that the state is paying for people who don't have transitional housing to come out of jail or prison.
And that is the language that the public that forgets about people coming out of jail. That's the language you got to. That's what they understand, right? If you're
Right.
saying, hey, you guys are spending $6 million a year on people who could be out of jail, which one saves you money, two alleviates some of the overcrowding, three, they can't keep officers. I was one of those officers. You can't keep them no matter how much you pay them, because the burnout and the
Uh,
exhaust is absurd. So
hey,
if you
Dave.
could, yeah.
Kiera Mickey, she raised her hand. She's got a question here.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead, Kiera.
Hey, it's Kier with the health plan, one of the Medicaid providers.
Right.
And I was listening to you guys talk about Fayette County. Have y'all ever came to the FRN meetings? Because I know specifically that FMRS is there, and other recovery reentry people are there, and they also have a subcommittee directly that deals with intervention, recovery, and reentry. And they have it every month.
Yeah,
Because
I've been there a few times, like whenever I'm not, somewhere randomly in the state, and it is a good. I mean, they usually have a room full on what is it, like the first or second Thursday. Um, yeah, that's actually a really good idea. Maybe if we could
Hey,
get.
Kiera, could you
So,
put information in the chat on that? That way
yes,
I
yes, I
could.
can.
Thank you. That way I can look it up because I'm in Logan County. And so sometimes
No,
it's hard for me to get all the way up there.
Yep.
no, man, it's not hard. Just get you a Dodge Challenger and put 187,000 miles on it. I was at an event this weekend, and a guy came over and he said, "Hey, man, you've been doing burnouts?" I said, "No, why?" And he said, "Look at your rear tires." I went over and looked, and I thought, "Yeah, I got to order 4 more tires." Like, um, a lot of miles covering what I do. I mean, I love it, but a lot of miles. But we definitely that FRM would be a good breaking in too, and maybe like Heather Lucas, who works for Judge Ewing at the family treatment court. She's passionate. She's real, and like and um, I was looking over in Nicholas County too. I don't know how it's divided up, but um, I've got a really good guy in mind in Nicholas County that I've known for 20 plus years. He saved my life. He was uh, he was my sergeant when I was in corrections. He actually um, talked me down from doing harm to myself one night when I still worked for him. And he had like 20 plus years in corrections, but now he's running the adult mobile crisis for Seneca, and he's like really delved into the mental health aspect of like helping people. So he finally sees it from our side now, but he has like a ton of expertise and knowledge in the correction side of things too. I sent him the information last week, but this time of year, it's graduation, it's baseball, it's all the stuff all rolled into one. And like events, I think I overscheduled myself by 3 events over the past weekend. I made it brief appearances at all of them. And in between, made a drive to Blacksburg to get an injection in my hip that did not help whatsoever. But it's a busy time of year for sure.
Yeah.
But
And
I'm all about just trying to grow what we have and get people in who want to, you know what I mean? Like people who want to figure out a way, because we've got to figure out a way. I've talked to Josh Barker. If you don't know Josh Barker, guys, he was like the opioid czar now for the Attorney General, and he said he was in session down there last week in the committee, I mean, and he said that they were going on and on again about the one senator who thinks all treatment should be a minimum of 90 days to like 9 months, and they can't make him understand that people aren't going, insurance companies, medication aren't going to pay for it. But he said that he was basically pounding the desk saying, here's what we absolutely need. We absolutely need a facility for juveniles, which I got approached this weekend. There is a private company that is looking at property in Beckley, and they're looking at the liability issues, I guess, as far as going to juveniles. That's one. But the other thing he said that he told them we have to have is this: we have to have something for them to transition to, because when I worked at FMRS, I picked up a guy there at was it Pine Haven? Is that the homeless shelter? And picked him up, and he was staring at me, and he goes, "You don't remember me, do you?" I said, "Oh man, I don't have a clue." And long story short, he was like, "You worked in Q1." He said, "Remember, I'm Red Snyder's son." I'm like, "Huh? Yeah, I remember you now." He just done 20 plus years, and his home plan was to go to Pine Haven. Made no sense to me whatsoever, and I don't know what we're going to do, but there has to be, and that's what Josh was telling them. There has to be some effort made, because it's like okay, catch the kids if we can before they get too far gone. But once you send somebody to prison, you've got to set them up to succeed, because we're setting them up to just come right back. Then they want to cry about the recidivism rate. Well, what did you do to help him?
exactly.
Yeah, you didn't do anything to help him. You made it impossible for him to work. And somebody like Jonathan, who passes their West Virginia cares and passes all the things, and it's like you still can't work. Come on, like that's the next step of getting them to think differently. Because in my brain, in my brain process is this: like you were sentenced. You're a jury of your peers found you guilty of something. You were sentenced. A judge in good standing sentenced you to X amount of time. You paid that penalty. You're done. right? You should be able to come back out here and like your slate is clean. Here's a second chance. But how often does that happen in reality?
Not a lot.
Right there, zero. And that's I think that's the two biggest parts of the system being broken outside of we need more beds is like the kids don't have anything, and people who have been incarcerated come out, and it's we wipe our hands and we're like good luck. And I would hate to see the number of people who come back because I know it's probably absurd.
Uh, yeah, there was, I mean, I've done, since working for Bev here at Reach, I've done a lot of research on different things and, uh, like just with the nonviolent offenders, we can get them, especially those who are waiting, trial or sentencing or whatever, uh, the ankle bracelet. West Virginia only charges $40 a month for the ankle bracelets, but yet they want to charge $50 a day to hold someone in jail. Why not just
Yeah.
put that person on an ankle monitor for $40 a month, have them report in, and you alleviate another 20% of the jail population.
Well, even when I was at lead, I had a girl. I had a color girl. She's a woman. I'm sorry, but um, she had one of those CPS cases that made the news, and like everybody was like just destroying her. And for I think she said it was 48 days she knew of that I fought with the prosecuting attorneys in Greenbrier County, and that was finally our solution. I was like, what if she comes to treatment on a monitor? Like she'll pay for it, and already had the other county saying that they would monitor and so on and so forth. And now that that young lady is getting ready to get married, she's got custody of her kids back, and she's a board certified peer. You know what I mean? And it was all because instead of just locking her up and making her wait, it was like, or like you said, we could for them they save money, less of a headache for them. She changed her life because she didn't sit there. And you know how it is. The longer you sit there in jail, I know of a guy right now, kid's 20 years old. Now, here's this one out. Hear this one out. He's 20, never even had a speeding ticket. Um, he went to drop off a dog that he said he just couldn't handle. He couldn't handle the dog. It was a holiday weekend. The woman was at the shelter. She was leaving for the day. It was late in the evening. Wouldn't take him. So he left the dog there at the facility. He's currently doing, I think, 90 days in jail for leaving the dog there because she wouldn't sign off on this is like, and I got firsthand knowledge of this. I know the people. 90 days in jail for a kid that young who's never been in jail. What do you think's going to happen to him while he's in jail? Is he going to get better? No, like he doesn't have a substance use problem right now. Um, Odds are he probably will when he comes out. He's going to have some trauma, probably going to have some issues, all because a magistrate wanted to, I guess, make an example out of him. And that's the kind of stuff I call attention to. And when I call attention to it, sometimes I make people upset. Sometimes they go investigate my voting record and have me charged with a illegal voting like they did a few weeks ago. Guys, that's a true story. I spoke out against the initial bill in Charleston. WCHS called me when they did the whole bill, like they wanted to cancel out all substance use, treatment. And WCHS called me. I spoke out on it, and I was very vocal about the whole thing. And do you know that a few weeks ago, I got a call from the Secretary of State and the Attorney General that I was under investigation of a felony for illegal voting because I moved 3 miles down the road and I did not change my address. That's how petty that's how petty some politicians can be. All because, you know what, though? And everything that we spoke out about, that's the way the bill ended up. But they're still behind the scenes, from what I understand. They're still trying to pull some stuff. It's right now in Charleston, there's a battle to see who can cut the most money. And they're cutting things that are hurting people. And it's sad. Like, why to cut jobs and hope? They cut their budget in half. That's probably the best program this state's ever seen. Um, and I'm fearful for everybody with the Medicaid and all the stuff that's going on. Not to get into politics, but I'm just telling you from one man's perspective, I am scared to death because here we are talking about we don't have places for these people to transition to, and we got that problem, and our politicians are trying to cut it so we can treat less people in the first place. So,
Hey, Dave, let me ask you a question. Since I know you work for WisePath and everything, how much does it cost per day for a person in treatment?
it is, and then this is like the area where my eyes glaze over because like I've been notoriously anti numbers.
Right.
So I think it's $400 or $500 a day. I think through Medicaid, I think is what it is, and that number is I think different in detox depending on like if it's how much medication and all that
Right.
stuff. Yeah, um, but I think pretty sure it's a four to $500, and and me being Mr. Transparency, I will tell you that the private insurance companies they pay a whole lot more. I don't know what that number is because again, I've made a whole profession out of being like I don't even ask when you call me with a referral. I don't even ask what kind of insurance they have. I don't want to embarrass anybody.
No, I get. I'm just trying from an advocacy point of view to maybe see, if you can get like a straight across the line, amount that it would cost to house somebody in treatment, whereas, like it instead of varying from facility to facility, because I mean, and I know you have to have certain, like you got a diabetic, you got to take care of them, you got someone with heart problems, you got to take care of them, and I get all that, because I used to work in a 28-day facility. Uh, just something I didn't understand that side, how much per person it costs.
Yeah, and that while you were talking, I just it just hit me. Um, there was a sober living that got shut down, unfortunately, and that was actually a good one. Me and a couple other people are actually trying to buy it and take it over and keep it open.
The one that I used
And
to work for?
no, no, this is a different one. This was up in Elkins,
Okay.
and I know, like so say that we're Medicaid is paying $500 a day for somebody to be in a 28-day program. This program, I know, it's like they go get a job, they pay $500 a month. So a month versus a day. The problem in that is you have to have people who are willing to not only run it, but to run it the right way. Because the two other people I sat down with, I was like, listen, if we're going to do this, like we're going to be more than by the book. Like we're going to hold ourselves accountable. And I was like, there's no such thing as profit in this. Like we're going to hire who we have to hire, and the rest of that money goes into whatever to keep up, the facility. Because there's not a whole lot of money to be made, and it's not if you're in it to make money. That's when you start doing the stuff of not paying your power bill, not having running water, and like I've seen all those things in like in transitional like living and like sober living. It like
Jen, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can't
Okay.
hear Dave though. He looks frozen.
Yeah, he does. I just realized, Carla, do you have anything? I just realized you were from Public Defender.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry. It took me a minute to figure out how to unmute it. No, I'm just kind of just taking it all in, and I've actually thought I think I might talk to our chief public defender and see if I can't start maybe setting in on those the jail bill meetings that they have, just to get a little bit of more information on that and how that works and stuff. But mainly just taking some notes and taking it all in.
I saw Dave there for a second and then he disappeared. Oh, here he is. You back, Dave?
Hey, yeah, it's Fayette County. I had to go shovel some more coal to get my internet turned back on. Uh, but I've had referrals send me video cockroaches crawling around their places and all this. Like it's just there's some horrific things out there. It's so you got to find good people who want to actually do it for the right reason, and few and far between. And what do you guys think? Do you think that it's something that would be better off in the private sector, or do you think it's something that we should try to like bring to the state's attention? Because the state can do some good, the state can do a whole lot of bad, but at the same time, uh, private people can do some really horrible stuff too. The good news is that they're with Josh and with the new AG, I think that there's a lot more accountability. But do you have the number on how many transitional living beds there are in the state, John?
I heard Kenny Matthews make a statement like, and I don't know if it's true or not, uh, like 17. Let me see if I can find something real quick on uh,
Because I
Chat
would just be
GPT.
curious to see
Chat
that number.
GPT is my friend.
Oh yeah, yeah. I just use it to roast like pictures of me and like make fun of myself. But I would just be curious to see the number of beds we have versus how many people that are released, and see, some of them obviously have a decent home plan, but for the most part they don't. I know it's got to be a pretty big number, like a disparity.
Uh, yeah, it's let's see. Oh no, this is for homelessness. Let me that was kind of low for homelessness too. Uh it's giving me a list here, but like I said, the when we talked to Kenny Matthews last week, who has a lot of he does a lot of the stuff with the American Service family members and everything, and uh, I think he said something like 1,700 total beds in the state, but a lot of those are full, because if there's uh, 200 plus inmates waiting released back into society I'm not exactly sure. That would be something that, and then there's a couple places that lost their with our uh thing, the
Right.
certification.
Probably gonna be a few more.
Yeah, so
Just
and I get it. If you're not keeping your place up to standards, then you shouldn't have that standard available to you. Uh so
hey, I've been in that situation where you it's like, okay, this person can get out of jail, but the only place that you have to send them
right,
to is a place that you don't trust. And
right.
I'll tell them like, man, I don't want to send you there. Like it's essentially a trap house. Like, and you're going to be right back in here. You're better off in here because hopefully you're not going to die in here. Whereas if I send you to this place that is a transitional home that has no power, or there's nobody monitoring them or nothing of that nature, then bad stuff's going to happen.
Uh, I, I feel something needs to be done. I think, uh, I was on a call with, I can't remember who it was. There was a bunch of us and talking about the old, like dilapidated buildings that are just sitting there, or the county schools that have consolidated schools to bigger schools and left the other schools just empty. You know, that could be used, made transition or like transferred into transitional housing. Uh-oh, Dave locked up on us again. Oh, there he is.
I'm just going to stop my video. I think that the Wi-Fi is being crazy. Those schools, a lot of the times, the state will lease out for $1 a year. And I've had that idea. Yeah, they'll $1 a year if you're somebody who's trying to, in good faith, do something positive. Here's the problem you have: you run into the community, like trying to fight back. So you've got to get the mayor and council and like the police like on your side before you go in there. But even like the hospital over in Beckley, just went up for it's going to go up for auction, or it was auctioned. That massive hospital right outside FMRS, like giant place, tons of potential, but who's going to do it? Who's going to? That's the problem. We have the ideas, and we have possibly the facilities. It's like, who's got the desire? Who's got the Sounds like a good job for Jonathan Spence.
Well, I'll research it. Trust me. Now that I know about it, I'll research it. I will. I
Yeah,
mean,
look at those leases. A lot of them, for real, they'll do like $1 a year, just like basically says you'll keep up the property, so it doesn't go into the dilapidated building status. And I've seen a few of those buildings, like, and people use them for, I think there's one even on the Hatfield McCoy Trail that used to be a school that they got for like $1 a year, and they turned it in this like they labeled it as like a museum slash tourist, so they wouldn't have. It's not making them money, but it's making them money. But that way they got away with getting a lease.
is that the one over in Gilbert that
It's somewhere over there.
yeah, there's one over in Gilbert that they use for the trail system, and I think they have a beef jerky place there. Because my mom lives over in Gilbert, so I know that area.
Jen is on here thinking these guys are talking about Gilbert and beef jerky, and I'm up here at Northwood thinking, what the hell are they talking
Sorry, Jen.
No, it's good. I love beef jerky.
about? You work with Russell a lot, right?
I do, yes. Yeah, we send a lot of people your way. I know you guys send some people to us, which we appreciate. I did have a couple questions for you though about your new facility, because I just wanted to let our case managers know. Um,
If you ask nicely, I might sneak you a giant file of about 50 different photos, but you can't tell nobody.
let's go. Okay, that's awesome. So wait, let me find my notes here because I was going to write it down so I can let everybody know. So when is your official open date? You have that,
Well, like I said, we're going to start posting June,
right?
and we're hoping I think that it might be a little early, but they're looking at September
Okay.
1. And I
Okay.
think a lot of it depends on how many applications we get, how many quality applications we get. Um, because like I'm one of those guys that believes that if you don't have good BHTs, you don't have anything. You can have a $7 million facility, but if you don't have good BHTs, you're wasting
A-
your money. And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree.
and like
And is this one? Oh, I'm sorry.
I begged our president to let me and Russell actually be in on these interviews of these PhDs, because we know the culture, we know what
Yes.
you know what I mean. Like,
Yes.
so hopefully that'll work. What's your next
Yes.
question?
Is this going to be males and females as well?
Males and females. And like I said, the layout is really cool because you've got upstairs, downstairs, and like in the upstairs, it's kind of like there are two rooms set aside at the end of each hallway for like a peer leader, as far as like, somebody who's been there, say they're in their last week, 2 weeks, they get to move up to that big room and kind of be that leader. They'll be separated really well. Um, Once you see how big it is, just the sheer size of it, you'll see that it's going to be a blessing and a curse. It's going to be a blessing because there's going to be plenty of room to spread them out. And the curse will be like making sure that people aren't going skinny dipping in the creek. And you know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah, I mean, I get it. That's everywhere. I just wanted, so when we send referrals, we know, do you take females? Do you take
Yeah.
males? And then what are
It's
you
going to
going to be
be
called? Is it still Wise Path?
it's Wise Path, and I think they're kicking around the name of just Wise Path Camp Road, because they, in the very beginning, where they were like, hey, it's a Camp Road, and that's what they've kept referring to it as, Camp
Okay.
Road,
Yeah, I
Camp Road.
like that. Okay.
Yeah, and like it's really cool because you go out, you go off Goshen Road, and you go out and you go down the hill, and then you come to a gravel road, and we were talking about, hey, should we pave this? And I'm like, you know what we should do? We should have a side by side meet the individual here at the road, and kind of be like, this is your new start. Like, you know what I mean? Like, hop in, put your stuff in the side by side. Let's ride up here. It's like a quarter of a mile, and like, like, wow, you're really out here when you're really not that far from civilization. But if
Yeah.
you ride a quarter of a mile on a side by side, you're thinking, man, I'm way out.
Yeah, and you're thinking, I don't want to leave APA.
Yeah, and there's like, it's surrounded by wide open spaces, and like looks like farmland on one side and mountains and that big stream. That I got to be honest, if the what's the woman's name, the director of compliance was there last time I was there, I was totally going to do some. There's like a natural water slide right there on those rocks, super smooth. And I'm like, Russell, look at that, dude. Like, we can totally slide right there. And he's like, Jennifer will kill you. I'm like, ah, yeah, true. But
That's funny.
and like there's gazebos out there. There's so many. It's like I honestly, and I'm not just saying this because, oh wow, I work for him. I think it's like probably the coolest investment in this state, as far as like, wow, you get to come here. And some people have already started a rumor that it's going to be private only. Let me triple assure everybody on this call that that is a lie. That it's not going to be private insurance only. Unfortunately and sadly, in this field, people, they call it, what do they call it? Reverse market you. And I'm like, I don't market. Like, I do outreach. There's a big difference, man. Like, but I'd already been told that, people be like, oh, so that's just private only. I'm like, no, hard no. No, we're gonna, it's not gonna be like, it's not gonna be some exclusive bougie BS. Like, it's for everybody in West Virginia. That's the reason that Doug worked so hard to get it open, was like, this has been his dream for West Virginia.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Awesome.
yeah,
Can't
like
wait to
it's.
see it.
I'll send you some. Is your email on there? I'll find you, or I'll get it from Russell. I'll send you those classified documents. It's really cool. It's just like an overview of some drone shooting, some drone footage of like just how massive and gorgeous. Last time I was up there, Brad from our Westover facility was measuring out for a pickleball court. I'm not even being like funny. He was like, really, we can put a pickleball court right here, which I've never played pickleball yet,
Yeah, it's
but
huge now.
yeah, everybody's playing pickleball, and
Yep.
I'm like, okay, I'm here waiting for a new hit, but I'll try to play pickleball. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
But the recreation up there, the opportunities to be outside and like the trails and stuff is just phenomenal. So
Great. I can't wait to see it in person. Can't wait
Yep.
to see the pictures. And it's always great working with you guys. You
yeah,
guys do a great job.
everything that we do at the other facilities will be the exact same thing here. Like, no, that our goal is that nothing changes. We just have more availability. That's the
Sure.
way we're looking at it.
Yep.
So yeah.
Awesome.
If you hear otherwise, they are fibbing to you, and they're doing things for the wrong reason. I'm just Jonathan can tell you, if I'm an outreach guy. I don't know. I glaze over. People start talking about business, I start shaking my head like I'm out.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to help people.
Yeah. Hey,
Yep.
hey, Dave, after we get off here, I'm going to send you an email with a link to the last time I spoke last week at that church. And it's about 45 minutes long, and it tells a bigger story than what you did down here at the Logan place.
Oh
So
man, I tell you, I made my kids watch that, and Jonathan, and my 14-year-old was emotional, and I had to explain to her that people pay their debt to society. We got to give them a second chance. So I'll be interested to show it. And guess what? I'm a single dad until like Tuesday night or Wednesday, so they have to watch whatever I tell them to.
right. Well, it's My wife recorded when I spoke at that church last Tuesday, and she recorded it, and so people have been asking me about it.
Sweet. I'll definitely check it out. Um, maybe even put it on my podcast channel if you don't care.
Well, anybody got anything else? We're about a little bit over time here.
Sorry, guys. Sorry I was late.
Oh, you're
And
fine.
that guy, I'm waiting for him to I'm waiting to get an alert that says he has arrived. But man, he was a tough cookie. Y'all ever dealt with the ones that are like 35, 36? They
Yep.
live at home and
Yep.
mom enables them and mom cripples them, and then
Yep.
mom almost tries to get them not to go because she's codependent. Yeah.
Oh, one of those. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of hard.
That's why I said, Jonathan, I'm knee deep in it, brother. Like, give me a few more minutes.
That's fine.
So I'll send that
Jen,
email out to you guys, Jen, and I appreciate it. And I'm always grateful for you guys.
I appreciate it, and it's great working with you, and you guys have a great day.
I'm probably sure I'll see you later on.
I have court this afternoon. You probably won't see me, but I'll see you sometime this week.
All right. Have a good
All
day.
right. Thank you, guys.
Carla, have a good day.
See you guys.
Later.
You guys too. Thank you.
Dave, I'll send it over when we get off here.
Sounds good, buddy.
All
Appreciate
right.
it.
Well, later.